Here we are, just about the end of the course. We've covered a lot and still have one more piece of functionality to cover, dynamically generating forms. Just for fun, and since this is the end of the course, I included a lot of the elements from the rest of the course in this final demo. Up to this point, all of the demos we've seen have just been pieces focused only on the thing we're currently learning, so I figured we'd end with a large unified demo. Here's a partial list of the Angular constructs we make use of in this dynamic forms demo. This isn't everything we've covered in the course, but it is a lot of it. I wanted to add in as much as I could without destroying the scenario to show you a cohesive example with as much in it as made sense. I don't teach the elements here, only make use of them, as I'm still focused on teaching the dynamic forms aspects. If you're not familiar with these, they're taught earlier in the course and just used as another example of their use here. We're going to make our way through the dynamic forms specifically covering these topics. As I said, along the way we'll see and use all of the elements I had on the last slide and more, but we're really focused on the forms still. We're going to see this a lot in the browser, but I wanted to give a quick overview of the form we'll be building. As you can see, I'm not a designer, so this form is not styled. I was far more focused on the functionality, so I only included enough style to support the functionality. Like any form, we have fields with labels and different types of controls. What you can't see here is that the fields are created and added to the form on the fly based on the contents of a form schema file. We'll be taking a look at that shortly. We also have validation and field hints. Placeholders, buttons tied into the validation, so if the form isn't valid, you can't submit. Introductory and closing text. And something perhaps not that common, but here we're displaying the results of the markup typed into field 2. Taking a quick look at our form just in the browser to see the functionality, you can see we have a modal loader while the data is being retrieved from the server asynchronously, covers up the form until the data is loaded, and then disappears and gives us access to our form. So we have text boxes, text areas, radio buttons, checkboxes, number controls, and a drop-down. We have some basic validation in that if we take out the value, we can see we have a placeholder. We also have an indicator that says this is a required field. If I go ahead and type something into this field, we have our custom validator that says this value has to be unique. So we need to make sure that that is a unique value. We have our hint icon that shows up here. When we go and click on that, it shows whatever the parent container, parent component, says we should display as a hint. In our text area, enlarge that a little bit, we do have live sanitization going on, and we can see over in the console window that we had some sanitization events happening. So if you take a look at the URL for this, you can see that it has been sanitized. The JavaScript isn't going to be injected, but we can do bold, we can do bullets, things like that. We can change our number control, can change our drop-down, and you'll also notice over on the right-hand side here in the console that we have some blur and focus events going on. If we go ahead and save this, we're just logging out to the console. Here are all of the different values that were in our form. And like I said, it's up to the parent component to save these back to the server. We're going to take a look at how we delivered all of this functionality as we work through the demo in the rest of this module.